Hi, I'm Crystal with the Dog Psychology and Training Center.
And I'm Eric, also at the Dog Psychology and Training Center.
We are going to be discussing live today about service dogs, therapy dogs, and ESAs, emotional support animals. What's the difference? Which one do you need? Which one's going to fit you or your family best? And these are questions we get a lot when people contact us. So we just thought we'd make a quick little Facebook Live to discuss those differences and hopefully help you better understand these different job titles and how they can help with you or your family.
Yeah, and what you need, because I think
If
some
you need one.
if you even need one, and which one you would actually need. Yeah.
So I'll break it down very easily, and then we'll get into more details. So simply put, a service dog is a dog that performs specific tasks to help a specific person in need. So when you think of disabilities, the most common one is, seeing eye dogs or support dogs for somebody to gain stability, if they struggle with that, or dogs that can help with epilepsy, or diabetic alert dogs, or PTSD. These dogs are all trained to do a specific task, job, that is very important to the health of that person. So very important and very necessary. A therapy dog is a dog that provides comfort to strangers, I guess is a great way to put it. I mean, all dogs, if they're in your home, they're providing you therapy. They're there to comfort you, to make you just love, right? I mean, that's why we get dogs, is to love on them. So therapy dogs are there to provide comfort to strangers. So you take therapy dogs out to nursing homes, hospitals. There is a program where kids can learn to read or struggle with reading by reading to dogs. So they build confidence by reading to dogs. So dogs can provide a lot of therapy to strangers. And then an emotional support animal is kind of the newest job title. And these are dogs that people need to...
They're basically they don't really do anything, right? They're just
Not
there.
really.
They're just there, just like most of us have pets, like for comfort, just that bond, and just having like a dog there for emotional support. But they don't do any like function.
Right, that's a great way
They
to
don't
put
do
it.
a
So
function.
they're there for that person's emotional support. And do you need a prescription or a doctor's note to
no.
get a emotional support animal?
Well, I think you might.
I think you do.
I think you do.
I think you do. But the
Yes.
difference is emotional support animals do not require really any type of training. You
Yeah,
just
there's no training
get a doctor's note,
required.
and you basically go online and you can find a website to pay some money and certify your dog. And that is really bad because so many...
Well, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say, like, it's good that you can do that, but I think the bad thing is people will call their emotional support animal a service dog and treat it like it is.
Maybe.
Or they don't know the difference
I think
in the rights.
I guess what I was going to say is that emotional support animals, because they don't require any training, people get these dogs because they do need this dog for emotional support, but then they take it out in public or take it places where maybe it shouldn't be because it doesn't have the training or it doesn't have the personality to be in this area, and then they can lash out and cause a bad name for service dogs.
Yeah.
Because some people, even if they don't present a emotional support animal as a service dog, the general public doesn't understand them, so they perceive them as a service animal. A dog who's not typically allowed on airlines, who's flying on an airline, my first thought would have been a service animal instead of a emotional support animal. And so the emotional support animal, there was a news article, a few months ago about a dog that attacked somebody in the face on an airplane because it was an emotional support animal who had no training in public, in tight corners, on airplanes, in a high-stress environment, and acted out. And so that's kind of the differences with them. An emotional support animal, the benefits to having one, again, getting your doctor's note and being wise to get them trained, can stay with you at maybe apartments that don't typically allow dogs, or can fly with you, even though they're not a service animal. So those are the perks, thank you,
to actually
to having a
having
service animal. emotional support animal
Yes.
that is certified. A service dog, though, is, I mean, their importance is, I mean, if you ask somebody who has a service dog how important their service dog is to them, I mean, it's like the breath
Their life depends
they
on
breathe.
it
Like,
in
it's
a
so
lot of cases.
important to their life, their well-being, their happiness. So it's a very necessary thing. Not that we don't need dogs to be emotional support animals. We do. But the role of a service dog is completely different and has specific tasks to benefit their handler. Whether it's diabetic alert, epilepsy alert, epileptic alert dogs, seeing eye dogs. There's so many different types that the training that goes into a well-trained service dog is redonkulous. Like, it's so good. Like, they spend so much time throwing out every possible scenario, taking the dogs to different stores and environments and airplanes and airports and high stressful environments that a typical dog would be like, WTF, I can't handle this.
And oftentimes they'll train them from birth.
Yes.
Service dog.
And they're very selective about what dogs they train. Not every dog can make it as a service dog because they have to have a specific personality type and drive to perform these tasks for the benefit of the handler. Whereas emotional support animals can be any dog.
Or animal.
Or animal, yeah.
You
so
could be
not
a ferret,
just dogs.
a bird. I mean,
monkeys.
Whereas service and therapy is just dog.
Is service? I thought they could have service animals. Not as common, but they used to allow service animals. I don't know if they still do or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the differences would be between service dogs and like other service animals. But I know when people say ESA or emotional support animal, that is more of a broad term than that.
Most commonly, though, the animal is a dog.
Most commonly.
And so we're obviously talking about the dog aspect because we do dog training. But with therapy dogs, again, I don't think that any dog can make it as a therapy dog. Not every dog should be a therapy dog, and not every dog wants to be a therapy dog.
Right.
Some people are okay showing love and affection to their family, but they're really uncomfortable giving that love or affection to a stranger. Walking up and hugging somebody and telling them that you love them is weird to them. And the same is true for dogs. Some dogs just love everyone, and they will walk up and give everyone a hug and say they love them. Other dogs are like, don't touch me. I don't know you. I don't know you. And so again, I think therapy dogs, again, cannot be any dog. They have to be a specific personality of dog that has that genuine, loving personality that wants to help and be there for others. So that was kind of our breakdown. I know you pulled up a couple things that you wanted to talk about.
I was having a hard time finding my notes on this particular device.
Do you want to try my phone?
Where is it? You got to remind me.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know you put it somewhere I knew. Anyways, I'll let him find his notes, and I'll just keep talking, because that's what we do.
Well, I know. So I was doing a little bit of reading, and like service dogs oftentimes, they can cost like in the tens of thousands of dollars. Like
$20,000 to $80,000.
Yeah,
and
pretty
obviously you
big
pay
range.
for what you get.
Yeah.
Sometimes do your research.
And like I mentioned, a lot of times, like people who will do service dog training, which we don't do service dog training. And there's a reason for that. A lot of people that do that, like I said, they'll get puppies from birth or, from 8 weeks, just a few weeks old, and they will essentially start training from then until the dog would go home with the person that would purchase that service dog for very specific tasks. And they could spend 6 months or, multiple years working with that one dog on those tasks. And that
are specifically trained for the owner, the handler.
Yes.
So they're, again, very uniquely trained tasks.
Yeah.
That's going to accommodate and benefit a specific individual.
And go ahead.
There are service dog trainers that will train a dog that you own to be a service dog. I don't know a whole lot about the different types of service dog training, but I do think that a most beneficial relationship is going to be a dog that maybe is trained specifically for a task before they really get to go into your home, so they know that job, that role in the relationship is that task that it was trained to do, versus a dog that you already own. It's kind of already relaxed in the home. It's kind of like me personally. Here's a little side note. I try not to help friends or family with dog training advice because I'm just Crystal. I'm the daughter, I'm the cousin, I'm the sister. I am not a dog professional in their eyes. And that's just because They raised me. They know me. They know all of my awesomeness and all of my not awesomeness. And that's just kind of the family dynamic. So when you have a service dog that is trained outside of the family and then brought in, that relationship to that family is completely different in that dog's mind as far as task oriented.
Yeah, and if your service dog is performing a job that your life depends on, that's pretty big deal.
Yes.
You don't want a dog that's going to lax off ever on that. So just a couple thoughts too. Like if somebody sees a service dog out in public, should they approach that dog? Should they try to pet that dog?
That's a great question. No, the dog is not there for your comfort. It is there for a job. Do not distract that dog. Very rarely, and that 1 in 100th possibility that the handler invites you to come pet their dog, okay, good. But if they don't ask you, don't ask. That dog is there for a job. And if you want to know a perspective from a human in a service dog relationship, check out Drew Lynch on Facebook. He is amazing. He has a service dog named Stella, and he will tell you his perspective on what it's like to have strangers come up and ask to touch his dog that is there to work and help him. So I think it's very important to know the other side. That dog is not there for you. That dog is there for its owner and its owner only. So don't be offended. Go pet your own dog at home. Really, you shouldn't pet any dog in public because that dog's not there for you. It's there for its owner. And you're just a distraction that's going to make it do something bad, probably. But that's just a whole nother tangent that we won't get into today. But, yes, absolutely do not. Therapy dogs, that's what they're there for.
Yes.
And that handler will bring that dog up to you
Yes.
to love on you and comfort you and be there for you. But, yeah, service dogs and emotional support animals, they're not there for you.
Yeah. And I would say, too, that with therapy dog, like getting the therapy dog certification really isn't about you, the handler, because that certification...
You are involved, and you do have to be there.
But the purpose of getting that is for other people, because for your dog, a therapy dog isn't like the design of that isn't so that your dog can give you therapy. Not that they don't, because just being in the presence of a dog can be therapeutic. But the whole purpose of that is to take your dog out to these different places to provide therapy for others. So that's a big difference, I would say, between therapy dogs and the other two types of dogs.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's I was just thinking if anything else was going to boom, jump at me and say, we should say this, and nothing jumped at me.
Okay. So that's what we have for therapy dogs, service dogs, and emotional support animals. Service dogs there for the owner only, no one else. Emotional support animal, I think, should require a bit more training, but does not, and is, again, there for the owner, not you. So definitely don't approach them in public because they do not require any formal training and can be a bit unpredictable and are not trained for contact.
Yeah.
Like a service dog is trained to ignore outsiders.
That's
emotional support animals are not, and so they may be reactive or uncomfortable in those type of environments. Therapy dog is trained specifically to provide support and love to others, strangers. But again, it's not really you out on the public on the street. It has a specific category that it is going to be working for. So that is our little recap. If you have any questions or anything we didn't answer that you'd still like to know, put it in the comments and we would love to answer it for you. I'm Crystal. This is my husband, Eric. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. If you have somebody who is interested in getting a service dog, emotional support animal, or having their dog become a therapy dog, that is something that we do train dogs to be therapy dogs, and we can certify them to become therapy dogs. So that is something we can help with. Reach out. But if you have somebody interested in those differences, service dog, emotional support animal, therapy dog, which one's best for them or you or your family or their family, share this video with them so it can help them make that decision. We hope to see you next week on our Facebook Live. And until then, we are out.
Later. Oh, I hit stop now.
I
hit stop.
Okay. I don't know. It's not working. You do it.